Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Shinrin Yoku, and Yurt Life, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Saturday, February 10th, 7:45 p.m. Mountain Time, 2024. A fairly rapid M9.0 solar flare was just detected around AR 3576. This is Earth-facing, peaking at 2307 UTC on February 10th. Dimming is evident to the north of the region following the event, meaning a coronal mass ejection will be possible and that, well, it will be headed our way. Holy macaroni. Keep calm. It's boom time. Very large hail tornadoes are threatening Texas this weekend and a washout for flood risks to the south. It's going to be a wet one. Severe storms in Texas are likely over a wide area, and that is Saturday. And into the weekend, take a look at this current radar, and we have one other stat here. Flash flooding possible for all of the south Sunday and into Monday. So heed the warnings. The full forecast is coming up. And speaking of large hail threats, take a look at the hail yesterday. 15,000 impacted by 1-inch hail or larger. Arkansas was the number one bullseye there. 62 locations with hail larger than 1.75 inches. And now we have a forecast for, well, what do they say here? Very large hail. And that would be around 2 inches or more. Here is the snowfall analysis from the last 72 hours ending 6 a.m. this morning. And more snow has fallen here in Colorado as it's still snowing outside. You can see the central mountains receive more than 3 feet of snow, in my neck of the woods, right at Wolf Creek, areas of Utah picking up all over 3 feet of snow. And this snow is going to be making its way east through Texas, of all places, the nexus of the Schmexis, where there could be record snowfall in the north here, as well as Oklahoma. Here's the forecast. Heavy snow in the central and southern high plains, with heavy rain from the southern plains to the Tennessee Valley. A storm system will produce a few weather hazards as it moves across the southern U.S. this weekend. Heavy accumulating snow is possible in the central and southern high plains. Heavy rainfall will pose a flash flood threat from eastern Texas to the Tennessee Valley. Severe thunderstorms are possible across parts of the south into Monday. And you can see winter storm watches and warnings up for Texas, as well as eastern Colorado, most of New Mexico, and a wide swath through Oklahoma. There's that severe weather, and on the backside is the snow that it's going to pull with it and bomb out here. Yes, it's true, in the northeast. So Sunday and into Monday here, that is when the snow is going to develop and make its way across the Texas Panhandle and into Oklahoma. The system is going to continue to move east, and heavy snow will be on the backside as it becomes filled with moisture. That means heavy snow for central PA, southern, the Catskills, southern New York State, Connecticut, and Massachusetts will be buried. Let's take a look at that snow progression as we move it through. Here's your Sunday and into Monday. And that system by Monday is already going to make its way all the way across the U.S., but not before dumping copious amounts of snow in parts of the Panhandle and Oklahoma. 16 inches or more is predicted at certain locations. Monday through Tuesday, that finger is going to make it all the way to Pennsylvania, but not before dumping a band of snow through Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, and the central states here. It's going to linger in the northeast here and create havoc, with northern PA picking up a wide swath of 16 inches or more, and the models are now coming into consensus that perhaps 1 to 3 inches in Philadelphia and New York City. Boston should be picking up a little more, maybe up to 6 inches with this. And several other systems mimicking the first are slated in the late models here to bury New England with several nor'easters. Good news. Shut up, Al. Get your hole. Al Gore did not like those details. Magnitude 5.7 earthquake hits Mauna Loa volcano on Hawaii's Big Island. Many people felt the shaking. No serious damage from the earthquake, which was first graded as a 6.3. And when I saw it, I thought for sure Mauna Loa went boom. but in fact, it did not erupt. A magnitude 5.7 earthquake struck the world's largest active volcano on Friday, Mauna Loa on the Big Island of Hawaii, knocking items off shelves and cutting power in nearby towns, but not immediately prompting reports of any serious damage. The earthquake, which didn't cause a tsunami and which the USGS initially reported at 6.3, was centered on Mauna Loa's southern flank at a depth of 23 miles. It shook us bad to where it wobbled some knees a little bit, said Derek Nelson, the manager of Kona Canoe Club. And this could be a sign, well, that Mauna Loa is about to blow up. Seismic update, some uptick in activity on the West Coast, including activity near Southern California, probably rumbling some nerves, and some activity up in Petrolia on that Cascadia megathrust, but overall, no major quakes of note. Now, Iceland, Volcano sets a new world speed record for the fastest magma ever recorded. And I did report on this 3 days ago and consider that it could be one of the fastest volcanic eruptions ever. And in fact, it was. The magma type was estimated to be 15 kilometers long, cracking the ground beneath the town and even threatening the famous Blue Lagoon, an open-air geothermal spa and major tourist attraction. But the impenetrable wall that they put in place really helped things out there. Now, the dike was seen lengthening and rising, and researchers have now established the flow of magma into the dike. It was not just fast. They're calling it ultra fast. They have estimated that the flow rate was 7,400 cubic meters per second. That is 3 Olympic swimming pools every single second, or the concrete in the whole Three Gorges Dam every hour. And that is hours of powers and tons of lava. Now, the good news is that the Reykjanes volcano eruption has ended, and it was because the fissure was so big and it was able to push out all that lava super quick. Good news there. As far as the rest of the erupting volcanoes worldwide, we've got Sant'Agüito today to 14,000 feet, Semaru to 14,000 feet, Merapi with an A to 12,000, Popo to 19, Fuego to 16,000 feet, Ibu coming in on the tick list with an 8,000-foot puff, Sabancaya to 25,000 feet, Dukono to 10, Sant'Agüito to 14,000 feet, and Semaru with a puff at 14,000 feet. And like I said, the eruption has ended on the Reykjanes Peninsula. Good news for those people. Now let's talk space weather. The sun has been quite active over the last few days with that X3.3 solar flare, the second largest solar flare of the solar cycle, happening on the backside of the sun, and us receiving that much X-flare energy. We'll get to that in just a minute, but just moments ago, an impulsive, almost X-flare, an M9.0 solar flare, impulsive meaning it was short-lived, just looks like here, took about 10 minutes at the peak there, was detected at AR3576. And this is the massive sunspot that is currently facing us, which has finally flared. Now, bad news is this is active. It could potentially shoot another X-flare directly at us, but it has been silent the whole way across the disk until it passed central heliographic latitude there. So now it is moving away from us, and it decides to give us a little bit of action. Good news for aurora watchers. Already February 12th and 13th in the detailed forecast set up to be geomagnetic storm. This flare would likely arrive sometime on the 14th. So should be a few days of continuous aurora possibilities starting tomorrow. And we will have more updates and more updated solar wind models like the Enlil spiral tomorrow. That usually takes over 24 hours. But here we are at Iswa, where they already have that flare up. It's a direct hit, pretty much, glancing over here, but a direct hit in the thickest part of the plasma there. And it looks like 11th, 13th, or 14th. So these could be overlapping storms. So pretty fantastic that the sun is giving us an opportunity to see some low latitude aurora. Now, an asteroid that impacted near Berlin has been identified as Rare Albright. Holy macaroni. February 5th, 2024, Mountain View, California. The official classification now aligns with what may be suspected from merely looking at the image of the strange meteorite that fell in Berlin January 21st, 2024. They belong to a rare group called Albrights. That's quite interesting. They are devilishly difficult to find because from a distance, they look like other rocks on Earth. And SETI Institute meteor astronomer Dr. Peter Jenkinson, close up, not so much. So there is the rock in question. Kind of looks like a granitic porphyry, but not really like most rocks on Earth. So interesting paper that will be linked below. Extreme climate impacts from the collapse of key Atlantic Ocean currents could be worse than expected. Oh my. And what they're talking about here is the disruption of the AMOC, or the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. And if that were to stop, if the AMOC were to come to a close here and shut down, we could see Europe freeze, the tropics become scorched, and increased sea level rise in the North Atlantic. And according to a new paper, the tipping point may be closer than predicted in the IPCC's latest assessment. Leah and I will break this all down next week on our radio show. So the link will be below to the article. Now here's an interesting object burning up in our atmosphere just 2 days ago above the Mauna Loa Observatory in Hawaii. And it looks like a giant mass extinction dinosaur-ending comet breaking up into thousands of pieces. But in fact, it was simply a piece of Chinese trash known as Object K, which is part of a satellite that re-entered the atmosphere and burned up. And probably most of these parts are now somewhere in the Pacific Ocean or near Micronesia. Absolutely spectacular and terrifying. We'll take a look at it later tonight on our radio show that gets replayed on Magnetic Reversal News in just a few minutes. And the title of tonight's show is Earth-Facing Quiet, Earth-Facing Solar Quiet. We also talk about Solar Cycle 25 and do an analysis. We talk about EMP and solar flare preparedness and what you can do to survive and thrive one of these events. And we end up with a little discussion on the megalithic culture. This is over at Magnetic Reversal News in a few minutes and will be linked right at the end of this video. We've also updated our preparedness store with EMP and solar flare preparedness, including all types of Faraday bags, Faraday boxes, Faraday cages, economical ones that most people can afford, do-it-yourself, copper tape, and many other products, including EMP-proof fabrics, and now a new EMP-proof paint. We'll get into it all at our podcast in just a few minutes. So go check it out. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned. We need your help to grow. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Be safe. And that podcast is just getting started. So get over there.